So, hello everybody. We're about to start. Just the latest weather information from La Palma Airport in Spain. Airport, let's just click on it here. Airport is Golf Charlie Lima Alpha, La Palma Airport. We're going to be starting cold from parking 1. That's in Flight Simulator though, that doesn't necessarily equate to anything in real life. The weather in real life at 4 PM 1600 UTC is the same as 1600 local time. 1500 UTC is wind is from 010 degrees at 11 knots, varying between 340 and 040 degrees. Scattered clouds at 4,000 feet AGL. Visibility at least 10 kilometers. Temperature 23, dew point 15 with a humidity of 61%. The QNH won't be modelled in Flight Simulator because we're using inches of mercury, but it's 1019 hectopascals with a QFE of 1015, and pressure altitude is minus 48 feet. And the forecast for this afternoon is clouds broken at 3,000 feet AGL. So potentially we could have a few problems with cloud. So you would really in real life be instrument. We're going to take a shortcut across the middle of the island, across the range here, Cumbre Vieja. If you just look at the map here, you can see some old volcanic flows have been modelled, but there's been no updates I don't think with the current lava, so you won't have the real volcano. But anyway, let's get going. So looking at the aircraft firstly, we've chosen to put in 70 litres of fuel. That equates to 50 kgs. Let's just reset itself, stupid. 70 litres of fuel. It's 35 litres in either tank. It's 50 kgs. I'll put in some weights, just simulate some weights. So we got a filming crew in the back of the aircraft, and a small amount of equipment, say 10 kgs in the luggage. And the registration, Echo Charlie, Spanish, dash Victor Oscar Lima. That is the registration, Vol for Volcano. And the weather, we're going to use the real world weather, real world traffic. So if there's clouds, we're just going to work with that. We might have to take a slightly longer route around the south of the island and then cut back across. Anyway, let's get going. Hello? Hello? Started. Ah, hello, finally. Right. So we are just going to put in the fuel. 35 litres in either tank, 70 litres total. That comes to 50 kilos down here in fuel weight. Weights of the crew, 70 for the pilot. Front seat's empty. And we're going to have 2 film crew in the back. And a bit of safety equipment. Blankets and water. Right, that's not enough water for 3 people. Let's go 12 kilos. And we're within limits. And that's our registration plate. Echo Charlie Victor Oscar Lima. Cessna Victor Oscar Lima. And 10% wear and tear just to simulate a bit of dirt and dust. Right, La Palma Island. Here we go, in the Canaries. Just off the northwest coast of Africa. It's still daytime. And this is the airport we're going to start at. We're not going to mess around, we're going to go straight from takeoff. And the weather, live traffic. So let's go. Right, so here we are at La Palma on runway 36, facing towards the north. You can see the windsock there is pointing with its tail blowing from the direction the wind is headed. So pointing into the wind. Clouds look a bit low today. But what we're going to do, we're going to take off, we're going to climb VX, and then we're going to probably do a right turn out to sea and continue climbing, because this terrain is very high, as you can see on the map here. And we need to have about 5,000 feet to clear the terrain. And the Cumbre Vieja volcano is just here on the left, and the affected areas with the lava flows are just here. And as you can see there, actually, you can see with the terrain map how the lava might want to take its direction. Obviously from the steepest route it will take, so it's gone to La Laguna, and from there it's probably going to head out to the sea. I highly doubt it has any reason with the lie of the hills to go anywhere else. Anyway, let's set up the Garmin 1000 for our departure. So flight director's on. Heading. The wind looks like it is coming slightly from the right, so we're going to have to turn into wind to even stay level. So how about we do an offset like that, because as we climb up the wind is going to increase and our drift will increase as well. So we are looking for at least sort of 5,300 feet to begin with, and I'll set VS for now, initial climb out of 800 feet a minute, 700 feet a minute, and then we'll go to FLC mode, hold VX, which as you can see is 62 knots. VX will give us the max angle of climb, as in the most altitude in the minimum amount of miles across the ground. VY will give us the maximum rate, as in feet per minute climb, but we're interested in maximizing our climb over the ground initially. So VX is what we'll climb at initially, but to be honest with you, to hit 5,300 feet in the minimum time would be VY. So we'll play as we go. Let's see how it goes. So for takeoff, we're going to do flaps up. Now I'm just going to check the lights. Lights all on. I'm going to just make sure we've got an adequate mixture here, because we're at full rich, but depending on our elevation, you know, that might not necessarily be giving us the best power, so we'll lean it a bit. 640. So we take the mixture out, 1650. Let's set 1660. And now it's dropping, so back in again. 1660, so we're at stoichiometric, and because we're going to be running at full power, we want to just add a bit more fuel in just to enrich the mixture for cooling purposes, charge cooling. So we'll go back to 75 and leave it there for takeoff. So because we've expedited from the runway, we're already cleared for straight off departure, so don't have to worry about air traffic control. Right, let's take that back out. So we're all ready to go here. Parking brake off. All the brakes. Set full power. Airspeed is alive. 60 knots. Trim. Autopilot's on. I'll set FLC. Nose up. 73. Set 65 knots. That's quite a good drift angle we've got there. Make sure heading mode is enabled. I'll take 008. Have that, just hold that heading there. And we're done with the landing lights. Nice straight up path. As you can see, the clouds are wrapping the hills at the moment, so we're going to have to continue our climb for now. We'll do a series of right-hand turns. So count on 014, we'll go to 104. again, thinking about the wind will be kind of from the left, so I'm a bit into wind. So our first turn there. Crosswind leg. They're going to go crosswind, downwind, and then sort of like a base turn, but we'll go straight over the airfield. As we climb up, we can lean out further for max power with a little bit of fuel added for cooling. So 75 start to come back. That's giving us 1520. There you go, 15:30, leave it there for now. That was air traffic, so we just need to request a information service from Canary Islands.
Victor Oscar Lima frequency change. Canary Islands approach Cessna Echo Charlie. Victor Oscar Lima is type Cessna Skyhawk 2 miles northeast of La Palma, 2,500 feet. Request flight following.
Cessna Echo Charlie. Victor Oscar Lima, Canary Islands approach. Squawk 6113. Cessna Victor Oscar Lima radar contact 3 miles northeast of La Palma, 3,200 feet. QNH tree 0.09er.
Yep, that's us.
Roger, Cessna Victor Oscar Lima.
And what we'll do another 90-degree turn now to do our downwind leg. So we're going to have the wind pretty much behind us over our left shoulder sort of thing. So a little bit into wind, 174 will do. And we're kind of into cloud. We're VFR, but we're kind of into cloud. But we have got our map there so that we know where we are, as long as we stay clear of high terrain. To a visual. And this is the real world weather. This is what it'd be like in that Palma as we speak. I'm not too sure whether some of this cloud might actually be sort of a simulation of the ash cloud, but today it seems the ash is going out to the Atlantic to the west, so I'm not so sure. Obviously it's swirling around this, the wind isn't just straight, it's swirling back. Looks like tomorrow the wind's coming back in from the Atlantic side towards the east, so it's just like a swirling mass of air that is full of ash that goes back and forth. So it's like it's recycling the same air all the time, so eventually over time it will just get mistier. And now we'll do our final turn to the right, 273 or something like that. That should do us. And we've got a good height now to just point at the island. I'll give it a bit more climb. Go up to 6,300 feet. And as you can see, we're almost sort of high enough to clear the mountain range, so we'll go up to VY now, I think. So nose down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 70 knots, even 73, 1, 2, 3, 73 knots. That should do us for VY. There's the airport down there. Here we go, above the clouds with VFR, and I think 5,800 feet will probably do us. Come just to the right of it. See, look, there's a low point there. Go through there. Altitude capture. We don't want to go too crazily fast, we're not in a hurry, so let's just lean the mixture out first. So 2550, we'll increase as our speed goes up. How about we just take that back a bit now? Alright, 70%. Actually, we don't want to go in that cloud. Let's climb a bit. 6,300 again. Nose up. Right, cloud. Up. Get the power up. That's the Cumbre Vieja volcano there. Okay, so starting to come into the affected areas now. Let's just slow down. Okay, so we can see maybe here is where the volcano is actually erupting from, and this is flight simulated before the eruption, so obviously now a lot of this would be covered with lava. It would have been nice if we could have descended a bit actually. I mean, literally we could try and descend, get below the cloud now on this side of the island, or where Bushcraft Bear does his videos from is over in there, Mirador el Time, and it's kind of in cloud at the moment. So I'm not sure if this is like sort of cloud in real life, whether this is volcanic ash that's been simulated, because the videos look like there's a lot of ash about today on this side of the island, because as we said, it's blowing to the west, to the Atlantic. Speed's decreasing. Let's descend a bit. Do VS mode. VS. Goes down. Okay, now turn the power out. And this aircraft has a fuel injected engine, so there's no carb heat to worry about when the RPM falls into the below 2000 RPM into the white zone. Obviously if you had a carburettor you'd have to give it some carb heat. Let's come left a bit. Get the nose down a bit more. Our rudder seems to be stuck. I don't know why the rudder has given me a full hard over. This plane hasn't even got rudder trim. So why have we got a hard over on the rudder like this? Rudder's stuck to the left. Not happy with this rudder at all. Look how it's hard over to the left here. It's sat, but it's not. Turn this all on and off. aerobatics now because this plane is really playing up. Its rudder, I don't know what's wrong with it. It's not in the neutral position. Look, it's like the man's got his foot on it. Stupid. Oh look, it's sorted itself out finally. Finally sorted its silly self out, right. It's a pilot. Yeah, let's just level off. Cover the aircraft from this silly state of affairs right now. Right. Let's just get straight. Look out the window, what's going on. There's a bit of cloud, so let's slow down a bit. %70% is a good power setting. Right. Assume that in real life this would be a lot of ash here. This is why we're not seeing much. Let's say that ash blocked our rudder just then, so in real life you really wouldn't want to be doing this. Say that ash caused the rudder to get jammed. Ah look, there we go. So it actually looks like they are simulating some ash coming out of the volcano. Look at that. There's the eruption site just here, and let's have a look. You can see that's Puerto Nios down there. These are all banana plantations, and right here I think we'll have some lava because that's Tazacorte back there. I believe this is right here is the place that's just been destroyed, La Laguna, and then Todoque is here. All of these houses are gone now. These are all destroyed by lava. The lava's coming from where you see the smoke. All of this area is covered with lava. And these two mountains just behind us, they're like old vents. Let's just turn around before we hit the hills. Done enough descending for now. Our speed will start to come back to something better as we level off. As you can see, great views, very high mountains, and this is like the main road that's now kind of been destroyed, but this part is still there, so you can still get to Puerto Nios. But look, we're at 2,700 feet and the road is just below us, so this is quite a high up road. Just imagine in real life the views you'd have driving this road. And it seems for a long time now this is going to be the main way to get to places like Puerto Nios, because the lava has cut off those areas. They were served by about 5 main roads before, but the lava has destroyed those roads. So the only way now to Puerto Nios will be to come from here, from the capital, and go all the way to the south and around. It's getting a bit slow. Like I said, 70% is a good power setting. Let's turn again, go back along the coast. that terrain. I mean, this is like volcano has done this before. You know, you can imagine the lava has come off these hills before, leveled off, created new land at the bottom. Look at that. That's lava that's done that, and not too long ago. Maybe in the last eruptions 400 or 500 years ago. So, you know, that's how places like Puerto Nios are even made, are just from lava coming down to the coast. So, you know, 400 years from now, there'll probably be a new touristic area on this lava. I think we can maybe go down a little bit, go to 2,500. And this is Puerto Nios. It's covered with a lot of ash every day, and with the wind coming from the west is good for the airspace around Tenerife and the Canaries, but bad for these areas because they're just going to get all the bad air quality and ash. Obviously, if the wind is going to the east, then where we took off at the airport would be covered with ash. And indeed, during the course of this eruption, it's been over a month now, the airport has been shut. And it had ash as well, so depending on what the wind is doing dictates what you can really do. The air quality in your area is going to be like. So this headland here, this is like an area again of ash, and yeah, this is that Puerto Nios. One of them, and the lava has made new land just down here. This is where the new land is. So as you can see, there's a lot of flat areas off the cliffs made by lava, and there isn't one here, so the volcano is literally filling in what hasn't filled in already. So maybe in time, where the harbour is at Tazacorte will also get filled in. But look, the cliffs aren't so steep down there, so that area has already been levelled off by lava in the past. So places like Tazacorte is, look, it's not so hilly because of the lava. And what's happening here, maybe these other areas that still have cliffs go smooth, like the Tazacorte area, look. And that's the lava filling in, so I don't think once the lava has carried on even that it's going to do much more even at Tazacorte. I think it's got more work to do here where the new land is made, and possibly even Puerto Nios, maybe not that far because of where the eruption is, but this part of coastline here is where I think most of the lava will want to be doing its work to create new flat areas, like all of that you can imagine continuing along here. So the harbour, I think it will be okay, to be honest. I think Tazacorte might be okay as well, because it doesn't look as hilly as you can see. We'll maybe descend down and have a look and see. This is only flight simulator, this isn't real life, but it's a pretty good model. I don't know what real life really is like. We're going to go down to 1,000 feet. In fact, before we go all the way down to 1,000 feet, let's have a look at where Bushcraft Bear goes, Mirador el Time. And it gives us a fantastic overview. Good viewpoint. In fact, stop at 2,100 feet. Wary of the terrain. Right, heading, just come right a bit, just very well to me. and I believe it's somewhere there. See the road? The road coming up. Let's come back in a bit. It's a fantastic location for filming because you've got a great viewpoint with the cliff there. And if you look on our sat nav here, you can actually see the caldera of the northern side of the mountain. So that's Cumbre Vieja down to the south, which is the active region with the earthquakes and everything else. This region is actually inactive at the moment, but the terrain is much higher on the north of the island. And this is like where the lava would have been coming out. The caldera of the volcano is in through here, so we're not going to go in there. But as you can see on here, and there's a collapse in the past, you know, and you probably had lahars, fast-moving rivers carrying a lot of loose debris from the volcano, and that kind of carries rocks and all kinds of heavy debris that can erode and create cutout of the side of the hills. So, you know, there's a lot more to come still from this volcano. Because there's millions of tons of material that are loose, and obviously when you get some rain, I don't know what the rain is like here. I would imagine there's more rain in the north, but if there's ever some heavy rain, then depending on how porous the lava is, you know, it might enable a lot of lahars in the future. We don't know. Let's just take manual control here. This limbs about with that. Take that new heading. Oh, what? Whoa, that was close. Whoa. Turbulence. The wind's coming from the north, off of the high terrain. Look, we've got some turbulence. So again, in real life, you need to be wary of, you know, strong windy days, being in the downwind area behind mountains and stuff. You don't want to get slammed into the ground because the air goes up and then kind of comes back down. Don't want to be caught in any downdrafts or anything like that. Even more of a problem in the early afternoon. No, sorry, the early evening, when the sun has just gone down and this is getting cold. All the ground is getting cold. It creates sinking air. So be careful. Los Llanos is a very busy area. The roads are blocked in most areas now. Los Llanos is still okay, and I think these kind of areas are going to be alright. I mean, we could get a bit lower and just see what the lie of the land is. Let's go out to sea a bit. So yeah, I don't know, say this is them simulating the ash. When we were higher up it looked like it was, but now it's just like clouds. Then ash is clouds, isn't it? Because it's going to be create something for moisture to coalesce on. So there are places in the world that do not have rainfall, and they're using particulates from aircraft to sow rainfall, make artificial rain. Places like the Middle East that have very high temperatures, high dew points, but the humidity is a bit high because of those high temperatures, so they're trying to use particulates to create artificial rain. So again, Puerto Nios. Just want to slow down a bit more, just to get the true lie of the land. Remember earlier on the mixture settings we had for takeoff, so now that we're descending back down we need to remember to re-enrich the mixture. We don't want to go to full rich because you know we're still above sea level. And full rich maybe is great for when you've got maybe a QNH of 1040 or something and you're at sea level. Plenty of oxygen atoms, but we're at higher temperatures here, above ice for 15 degrees. We are, the QNH is relatively high, but we're still above sea level in a fairly warm environment, so there isn't that much, and a moist environment at that, there isn't that much oxygen available to us. So if we go and put full rich, we're actually flooding the engine with way too much fuel, and we're making the oil very dirty. Wasting fuel, we're ruining the environment, we're increasing hydrocarbon emissions, so it isn't efficient in my opinion to have full rich all the time. It's based on environmental factors, and the best thing with these engines is if you're at a low power setting, you want it leaned out really to only be having carbon dioxide coming out, no unburnt hydrocarbons. You'll save fuel, and if you're well below full power, you're not going to overheat the engine either. Get a bit slow here. Yeah, but at full power, when you're doing a takeoff or a climb, you must have an enriched mixture, richer than stoichiometric for charge cooling purposes. Otherwise, you'll overheat the engine and you'll destroy it. Or maybe even melt your spark plugs, and that won't be very good. You'll have a diesel engine. Spark plugs will become glow plugs. Right. So these are the two hilly areas that we've got where the lava is by La Laguna. This is La Laguna just to the left here. Maybe we can have a look. Might have to go to manual. Set a bit of flaps as well. Make a first stage of flaps. So the lava's in here. It's destroyed all these banana plantations. See, I don't really like flaps in Cessnas because now you have to worry about your speed limitation. Let's get them flaps up. You can't exceed 85 knots, which is the white area on the speed take there. So if your flaps up and you sit at 2,100 RPM, you're not going to be using much fuel. You're going to be at a clean speed, so aerodynamically you're fairly efficient, and you don't have to worry about any limitations really other than stalling. But if you've got that kind of power setting and you're flying level, you shouldn't stall. You should easily be able to hold 70 something knots. So we wanted to see what the lie of the land is. Imagine you're a volcano and you want to go downhill via the shortest route. So this is La Laguna, which is now destroyed. The centre of the town is destroyed. The northern side is still okay, it seems. But look, the lava, you'd want to go left here. I would want to go left, but that looks like an easier route than going kind of uphill a bit. On the right, see, the left is easier lie, so why would you go now to here? Furthermore, you wouldn't want to go to Doke because that's the way the road goes, because that isn't such a steep route. The road takes the gentlest route. You'd want to go straight to the sea, so I think these areas will be alright. Pause them with our aircraft. I'm tempted to try a short field landing on that. In real life it's probably the harbour wall, but it looks like a road from here. I want to land on that. Let's see if we can land. If I crash, it's the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. But I hope not to crash, and it will land, we'll turn around hopefully and take off again. Let's turn landing lights on. Start to get speed back a bit. Flaps. Flaps 30. we go. Here's our short field landing. And we've done it. We've done it. Manual braking. So we just need to get turned around for the takeoff now. Taking the flaps up. So we're at the harbour at Tazaporte right now, and we landed on what in real life is probably the harbour wall, but in Flight Simulator is a nice little flat stretch of land. Right, you know what, we could even do, no, I'm not going to do flaps 10, let's just line up first. Well, we're at the beach, so, you know, have something to eat, maybe quickly get a cup of tea, and we're taking off to continue with our journey. In the next couple of minutes, let's just take a short break. Oh, my microphone was off. So you probably saw we did a short field takeoff. We've climbed out. We're now on the south of the island. As I was saying, these areas with hills that go straight into the ocean with such a steep drop off, I expect that if there are eruptions in the future, that they have the greatest potential for lava flows, because the lava will want to take the steepest routes. Obviously it's probably the top of the cliffs that define this, but whatever has the steepest downhill, I think there's a steeper downhill than here. So there's another eruption, you'll get more this flat land at the bottom where the lava comes off the cliffs. So it should be possible in the future that most of the island should have flat land. You could almost have a beach or a harbour or whatever everywhere, but these extreme cliffs, I think if there was an eruption that would have lava at the bottom. Anyway, we're heading back to the airport. So the Canaries have black sand, and a lot of what's coming out of this volcano is like an iron ore called magnetite. It's magnetic, and if you go to the beach with a magnet, you'll find particles of what look like iron filings stuck to the magnet. So this black sand has magnetic properties. And the volcano would also be very useful for foundry process. So if you had a blacksmith, you could possibly make iron and steel from the volcanic lava. There'll be other minerals in there as well, but I think if you melted it, you would be able to make iron and steel. And in fact, magnetite is an important iron ore. Places like Australia have large deposits, and I don't know what Australia's volcanic history was, but I don't know how the magnetite ended up in Australia, or whether it's magnetite, but I know it's iron ore there. There's a lot of processes that convert mineral deposits. You know, you've got metamorphic, you've got igneous, got things like pressure and heat to make coal. You've got volcanic, and then you've even got sort of how you got chalk of the White Cliffs of Dover. You've got the dead remains of sea creatures. Their shells get buried under the mud, and then rock, further mud crushes them down. And over time it becomes chalk, calcium carbonate, CaCO3. And in fact, from this volcano, the emissions of sulfur we have, and also sometimes it's this carbon dioxide. Now the carbon dioxide emissions have reduced greatly, so you could argue that that was carbonates, and carbonates will probably be higher up, carbon rich. It's carbon that's burning, so that would be maybe tree material, organic material, maybe coal deposits. And now that all that has burnt off, the carbon dioxide emissions have reduced. So now we've got a lot of sulfates, sulfur and sulfur dioxide, and when that blends with water and it rains, you get acid rain. And that isn't all bad. To have some acid rain is actually a good thing, because it creates a richer soil for fruits. It helps dissolve minerals in the soil and makes them more readily available for the plant's roots to absorb. So it's not all bad. The fertility will probably increase over time, but it could take quite a bit of time. closest is to get to work, sort of thing. So we're going to start to descend now to La Palma Airport, back for our landing. Let's call them up. Cancel our flight following first.
Canarias approach Cessna Echo Charlie. Victor Oscar Lima is type Cessna Skyhawk.
Oh no, we were meant to still have it. Oh, maybe we should have cancelled it when we landed.
Request flight following.
Cessna Echo Charlie, Victor Oscar Lima, Canarias approach. Squawk 7533.
Squawk 753 Cessna Victor Oscar Lima.
Cessna Victor Oscar Lima radar contact 6 miles south of La Palma, 2,300 feet. QNH 0.09er.
Yep, that's us.
Roger, Cessna Victor Oscar Lima. Canarias
Cancel
approach
that
Cessna
now.
Victor Oscar Lima. Cancel flight following.
Cessna Victor Oscar Lima Canarias approach cancellation receipt. Squawk 7000. Frequency change approved.
So, squawk conspicuity. Frequency change approved. So, conspicuity is VFR. VFR. No, in the UK it's VFR. In America it's probably that. So, 7,000. And we want to speak to the airport for full stop landing.
La Palma Tower, Cessna Echo Charlie, Victor Oscar Lima 4 miles south, 1,600 feet to land.
Cessna Echo Charlie, Victor Oscar Lima La Palma Tower. QNH 30.09er when 0 tree 5 at 15. Fly straight and runway tree 6. Cessna Victor Oscar Lima when 0 tree 5 at 15. Cleared to land runway tree 6.
Cleared to land runway tree 6 Cessna Victor Oscar Lima.
Just turn that unrealistic claptrap off. Landing lights should be on. And turn off the pitot heat in case of a go around. We want the extra power. We blow 85 knots because we want to get our flaps out.
La Palma Tower, generic Charlie, November Foxtrot, 45411 miles south inbound, visual runway tree 6 approach. Generic Charlie, November Foxtrot, 454 La Palma Tower. QNH 30.09er when 0 tree 5 at 15. Cleared visual runway tree 6 approach. Cleared visual runway tree 6 approach, generic 454.
How quickly we stopped. Flaps up. Clear of the runway. Choose ground. Taxi to
La
gates.
Palma ground, Cessna Echo Charlie, Victor Oscar Lima taxi to the gate.
Cessna Echo Charlie, Victor Oscar Lima taxi to gate 2 via taxiway Alpha.
And this is the only point I want the unrealistic claptrap in the game, so I can see where to taxi without having to pull out
Cessna
charts.
Victor Oscar Lima.
we don't need our strobes anymore. Strobes can go off, landing lights can go off. Beacon remains on, the engine's running. Beacon should be on when the engine's running, when you're about to start. Happens in real life with jets. Any time that you're about to start the engines, that beacon should be on, and the only time it should go off is when all of the engines are off and the brakes are set. Same with the nav lights. I believe that you keep them and the beacon on at all times. Even the nav lights are even on when the plane is just sat at the gate with nobody on it. It just lets everyone see the aircraft and know where it is. But in real life, in a Cessna, you don't really need many lights. Keep the beacon on when you're flying. It helps with the nav as well, but you don't have to have it on VFR. IFR is a different story, you need all these lights to be on. Okay, it's quite a big place for us to be with such a small plane. It's interesting why they told us to park here and not over there, where there's usually small planes. Interesting. Right. Parking brake. And we nav lights. And let's stop the engine. So let's just check the mags are working. Mag drop left. Both. Right. Mag drop. So the mags are disconnecting. Back to both. And cut the engine. And then turn the mags off. And everyone else can go off now. That's a flight of 1 hour. Not bad. I still hear electrics, even though they're all off. What's going on? No, the electrics are off, but I'm still hearing things in here. Like, this is like we've got some kind of standby instruments still running. Anyway, it's all off. And I guess it's a good thing to set that pitch trim to takeoff once you've shut the plane down, just in case the next person forgets that for whatever reason, that they don't go and kill themselves, to set that pitch trim on takeoff, yeah? Because someone might just overlook checking that in their checklist, and then they take off, and if it's all the way forwards, they go and the thing doesn't pick up, or it's all the way back, it comes and raises the nose way too early and hits the back. I don't know. Anyway, that's all for now. We had a nice 2 flights really. Takeoff from La Palma. We took off, right, a series of right turns, you know, crosswind, downwind, base. We flew directly over the airfield and we headed out to the other side of the island on the west. We had a look around, see where the lava is, and then we come back along the south coast to land here at La Palma. So I hope you enjoyed the flight. Take care.